Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Online Racing League with me, George Morgan, and also Jack Canan as well. Jack Canan, unfortunately, could not be with me at this moment in time. He will be joining us through qualifying. It's going to be absolutely electric, folks. We are really looking forward to this mega contest as well. Shout out to HyperX as well, our sponsor here at Online Racing League. And don't forget, you can check them out for all your wireless technology, whether that be mice, should I say, or headsets, or even keyboards. They do it all, folks. So please drop by, give them a cheeky follow on Twitter as well if you haven't done so already, and be sure to check them out. But like we said, the story is ominous so far. Jarno Opmeer still once again top in the billing after yet another impressive victory lost last time out. Unbelievable scenes here, making it 4 from 4. He is now chasing that superlative, that amazing fifth win of the season, and I'm surely you cannot write him off at all, even at this sandy circuit of Bahrain. Bahrain, of course, folks, $150 million circuit. Lots of money spent on this place. Certainly one of the most testing circuits on track, given the fact that it's got many winding corners. The middle sector, Sector 2, very demanding on the requirements of our drivers here. Naturally, not only due to the track with it being so sandy, naturally grip can be particularly difficult at a track such as this one. But don't forget that notorious Turn 10 that can really throw sim racers off track, should I say. You've got to try and cut in on the corner, downshift appropriately, apply the brakes carefully, otherwise you could find yourself spinning off the curb. We're just waiting for the drivers now to get ready for the start of qualifying. Obviously, this is a very good time to look at predictions. I'd like to welcome everybody in the chat window for joining us this evening. It's going to be absolutely mesmeric. I hope you're all looking forward to it. And we've got some familiar names on the grid as well. That being the likes of Ben Szabo, who was very, very impressive last time out for AlphaTauri. Calcifer, his teammate, back in the hot seat as well. Jarno Opmeer, of course, our current 4-race winner, looking for that notorious, that incredible 5th win as well. Steve as well for Ferrari, he's back for the Prancing Horses. Nicholas Matteo, Jarno Opmeer's teammate, once again trying to get his first win of the season, also trying to get to into the podium places as such. He's got the quality, but no doubt I'm sure he can push that little bit more to try and gain up the grid order. Obviously, he was a bit unfortunate last time out. We saw a lot of pace from the young man at Australia. It was unbelievable. Just a shame he actually managed to clock so many penalties that forced him down the grid. But nevertheless, an impressive drive nonetheless. Also, great to welcome back Fabrizio Donoso Delgado as well, joining us back here at Bahrain. Obviously, those of you might remember him from last season, a very, very phenomenal driver, up there with the best of them in terms of F1 esports. Let's not forget that he was challenging Brendan Lee for the 2017 Esports Pro Series, and it certainly was absolutely phenomenal. Who can ever forget that grand final that those two went mano a mano towards the end? Fabrizio Donoso, unfortunately, coming off worse, but nonetheless a very capable driver indeed. We're just waiting for the drivers now to edge out onto the track, folks. So I hope you've all got your predictions in the win. We got Nicholas Longue coming in with an easy win for Bian Collier. Obviously, Bian Collier, very impressive driver himself. Obviously, it'd be interesting to see how he gets on for the Prancing Horses alongside Steve. Though I got to say, all these guys have the potential to really do something really, really special, and we're looking forward to seeing what that may be. We'll now go live to the grid order now and just see what these guys are up to now as they cross in, through the pit lane. James Baldwin, another man that's joined us back again after obviously seeing him compete in the GT races. Obviously did extremely well, netting a first win in his only start so far in the GT. In the GT racing, should I say? I do apologise there. James Baldwin there, you can see him there in the McLaren, making his way round this right-hander. Obviously very tricky to get the grip here. I did mention it before. The sandy circuits of Bahrain, ever notorious. Do be careful when you're taking them there. I do apologise. Just waiting for the screen to come back into play here, folks. Do be patient with us. Any minute now we should see a result here as soon as our screens have woken up. Bear with us. Simon Vigang as well on track for Haas, making his way around now. Looks like he's having a little bit of to do there with I think that must be the detective who's out on track at the moment. Yes, that is the detective driving the Red Bull. Just bear with us, folks. We seem to be having a few technical difficulties with the screen. Just bear with me a second. We'll be right back with you. There we are, folks. Apologies for that. We are back in the room now. The detective, obviously in the Red Bull, making his way around the next right-hander. Obviously looking forward to seeing what lap times these guys could set here in qualifying. Obviously a long way to go, just over 15 minutes remaining in this session. And most of the drivers out on out laps. It'll be interesting to see what these guys could do. Let's follow James Baldwin around for a lap as well, because he's just crossed the start-finish line, just making his way down the next straight now. This is just after turn 3. He'll soon be making his way down to turn 4. You're almost turning back on yourself with this corner, and he brakes just after the 100. Lock it up there on the right-hand side. There does James Baldwin, coming up now towards the tricky fast left and right. You've got to brake almost just before turn 6 into turn 7, then rounding down towards turn 8. This immediate right-hander. And as he makes his way around that bend now, heading down towards what will be turn 9 into the infamous turn 10 now, where you've got to be uber careful on the brakes and on the accelerator there. He's done extremely well to come out of it now. He's driving his way down the straight, the back straight here. Obviously the DRS becomes available on this lap as well, heading into this tricky left-hander. As well, you don't want to touch any of the curb on the outset. Heads through once again into turn 12. He's got turn 13 ahead of him. He's now into sector 3 proper now. And very shortly making his way down towards the next straight. And this will be the last straight before the home stretch now. Heading down towards turn 14. And very soon the DRS detection zone will pick him up. And he, as you can see, locking up once again. This track, like I said before, really slippery, folks. As Calcifer nets the first time of the day. Here comes James Baldwin, the world's fastest gamer, with a 124.860 to boot. What a start there from him and the McLaren team. And Bian Collier there with a 124.731, goes even faster. Hats off to you there, Nicholas Longue, for that tip there. Gets himself on top step with a 124.731. Phenomenal lap there by the prancing horses. Both Ferraris currently in the top end. Simon Vigang netting a 125.090. Ben Zabo moving up there. That's of course Photon, for those of you who aren't aware. Obviously former champion here at ORL. Onyx there in P4 as well. The B-split champion for last year was obviously Andy, and I got to say him and Onyx had many battles in the past, and Onyx proving to be once again a very, very fast driver. Matthias Colligan after his P2 last week at Australia, back in the running again with a P2 start of a 124.742. Phenomenal by the Black Arrow, and that's very impressive indeed. Already the numbers beginning to flicker up here, folks. Just looking down, Jana Watmir still in the pits, waiting patiently to come out on track. Here's Fabrizio Donoso back on track, donning the famous helmet of Michael Schumacher, heading down towards turn 10 now. Simon Vigang dead ahead of him, obviously looking to go quicker. Obviously Simon not happy, I would imagine, with that initial lap. 125, certainly not a place he needs to be. We're certainly seeing some very dominant times here in the 124. So 124.731. Manuel Biancoglia with that. Fair play. What a lap by the Ferrari man. As we now witness Fabrizio Donoso coming around this next right-hander. He's got another one to negotiate before he heads down another straight. And as you can see, he's just trying to make his way around in the back of Simon Vigang. Obviously, I'm not sure how much that little slip is going to cost him there as he makes his way down this straight now, heading into the final right-hander. This is actually a double right-hander pretty much, because you've always got a double corner. He's now bombing down the stretch now. What's it going to be? Fabrizio Donoso not setting a lap time. He is going to go straight into the pit lane. Not quite happy with what he set. Now here's Yanni Vitsaniemi in the Racing Point. The Pink Panthers out in force here today, looking for an upturn in their fortunes, to be honest. P8 they are in the constructors standings, 128 points level with Renault at this moment in time, looking to improve. But as you can now see, Gianni now making his way in on his outlap around into sector 3 proper now. And very soon he'll be heading down the main stretch. Looking out on track, we've currently got Josh Idawu as well out on a fast lap. Let's ride on board with him, because he'll be no doubt looking to set a faster time than P4. I know he's a man on a mission here, once again looking to get himself up on the podiums after a very disappointing, well, that he admitted obviously, performance last time at Australia. He had a very tough time, certainly battling with the likes of Nicholas Matteo. Those two were really going at it, and I got to say, certainly didn't leave any words to chance in his interview either. Obviously wasn't happy with the circumstances. I got to say, it was all about racing though. Tomek as well was causing a few headaches for him as well. Obviously those two were battling all the way through that Australian Grand Prix. Falcon Tim as well, the Black Arrows, certainly doing extremely well here today. And I got to say, their constructors' hopes are still very much intact. Obviously Alfa Romeo, 130 points in the constructors at this moment in time. I made a mistake earlier, sorry folks. That was the points gap on the Racing Point Renault, 128 points. 2 points shared by the pair of those. They really need the points behind them here today. Looking at it now, 130 points to Alfa Romeo, 65 points to Mercedes there in P2 in the constructor standings there. So Matthias and Falcon Tim both looking to try and close down on the Alfa Romeo team, who have still yet to post serious lap times in this qualifying session. They're both outside the top 10, albeit Jarno Opmeer still yet to nail his first lap time of the evening. It's going to be a phenomenal visit here, folks. Looking forward to seeing what these guys can do. Manuel Biancoli are looking to get Ferrari's best qualifying performance of the season. Obviously, they're yet to really scratch the surface of the podium or the grid or the top grid positions. As you now witness Josh Idawu coming into the pits. A lot of the drivers struggling to field certain lap times here, as we now see Lucas UK, the time trial mastermind, currently bombing his way down the stretch, heading into the very, very tricky next few bends leading into Sector 3. Obviously, he's just made his way around turn 11 now into turn 12. And McLaren looking to once again net top place here. And Lucas UK, certainly the man that's able to do that, as he now makes his way down the stretch now. Lucas UK currently netting a 124.911, but I'm sure he's got serious intentions on his mind as he now comes down towards the final double right-hander, that being turns 14 and 15. Heading down the stretch, he is not going to set this lap. Once again, another pit stop, and certainly not what we were hoping for, certainly from him. As we now see James Baldwin looking to improve on his time as well, making his way around the tricky turn 10. Ruben Vallejo is out on an outlap as well. Fabrizio Donoso also out on a fast lap. He is currently just making his way down the stretch now to start his, but we will go back with James Baldwin, obviously looking to improve on that 124.860 that he already set now, making his way around the next right-hander. Here comes the orange McLaren, blazing here in the floodlit street circuit, that is the Sakhir International Circuit here at Bahrain, as he now makes his way down the semi-straight. James Baldwin, a man on a mission here, breaks just after the 100-meter mark, comes round this double right-hander, heading down the stretch now. The Gulf Air banners out of him there. The DRS detection zone activates. Here comes James Baldwin. P1 for the world's fastest gamer. 124.556. McLaren strike hot here at Bahrain. What a lap time there by the world's fastest gamer, James Baldwin. He is going to be so happy with that. And certainly a great plume for the McLaren team here today, currently on 26 points in the constructors. James Baldwin himself looking for points as well to get his campaign underway. 13th in the Drivers' Championship. And I got to say, very exciting to see what he can bring to the table. And a P1 and a podium finish will certainly help him. Jarno Opmeer out on an outlap as well. But here comes Fabrizio Donoso. The man is back. Here comes Fabrizio down the stretch now for his team Renault. As he comes up across the line, it's going to be what for Fabs? Nothing just yet. It's going to be an outlap. That was his outlap. I could have sworn he fielded a time, but nothing was actually set there. Do apologise to the folks at home. I could have sworn he was out on a fast lap. Must have been validated, if anything, now on an outlap, looking to secure his fast time. He's only got 7.5 minutes to actually get this in the bag. Looking further down, Jarno Opmeer coming around to start his fast lap. Now let's see if we can round our board with the Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman, who for all of this season has provided us with drills and spills. He comes across the line and commences his lap time now. The Alfa Romeo coming down towards turn 1 into what will be turn 2 very, very shortly. The Alfa Romeo really gripping to the track, very, very strong indeed, looking to once again tickle the top end. Can he knock James Baldwin off top step? That's the question. Coming under the Pirelli banner into what will be turns 4, into what will be turn 5 and 6 when he takes the fast left and right. He is now going to be in sector 2 proper, folks, the middle sector, the tricky one, which you need to make sure you plan and take every corner as best as you can. As he now rounds this next right-hander, he's coming down the straight now, soon to be meeting this really tricky turn 10. As you can now see, he goes around turn 9 into turn 10 there. No locking up there from the Dutchman. He knows his way around Bahrain, that's for sure, as he makes his way down the back stretch towards turn 11 under the Rolex banner there. Swallows a lot of the curb on the right-hand side, comes across into the corner now, very, very clean. Has a little bit of oversteer there, but manages to control it very well. Comes around the next right-hander. Very soon, he'll be making his way down the back straight now into what will be out of turns 13 into turns 14. And in behind him, you can see there a Haas there, no doubt either donned by the likes of Josh Idawu because Simon Vigang is in the pits. As you can now see, Jarno Watmere coming round this double right-hander. What's the Alpha gonna post here as he comes across the DRS line? As the line approaches, it's gonna be a 125.544 medium tyre time set. Obviously not fast enough. That compound will not get him the top spot here on that medium tyres. Just look how competitive these lap times are, folks. These drivers donning the softs. Certainly, I've got to say, providing us with lots of action here to boot here in qualifying here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's been absolutely unreal. Josh Idawu, I did realise, took the top step there for Haas after following in Jarno Watmere and taking the top step. What a great showing there by Josh Idawu. The Welshman packing a punch here with 5 minutes and 20 seconds of qualifying still remaining. He has got to be pleased with that. As Lucas UK tops the billing in for McLaren. Oh my word, McLaren out looking to spray punches here after James Baldwin took top step earlier. He is now in P3, but Lucas UK, after setting phenomenal lap times in qualifying, is now on the top step with 5 minutes to go and 124.510. Scenes here at the Bahrain circuit. Absolutely unbelievable scenes here, folks. Hope you're all enjoying it there in the live chat. Putting up with my voice for the majority of time here, I gotta say. But it's been absolutely unbelievable. Ruben Vallejo also out on a qualifying lap as well. Literal minimal gaps in between these drivers here, folks. Been absolutely unbelievable scenes here at Bahrain. The sandy circuit not putting any of these drivers off. Absolutely unreal. But nonetheless, we like to see it certainly here at ORL. And that is why, don't forget to lay down a like and a subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, folks. Remember, we race weekly here at ORL, mainly on Sundays. Obviously, we're a little bit earlier today for the Champions League final. And I got to say, I think we're all very much looking forward to what's going on here on track. I got to say, we've been really enjoying it here. I do believe Jack Canan is with me in the comms box. I've only just caught him. Jack, are you there?
Yeah, I've been sat here for 10 minutes.
Oh, blimey! I do apologise. I haven't had the Discord open, but Jack is here, everybody. Welcome, Jack.
Yeah, I've just been sitting back enjoying qualifying, really. It's really fun, really. Looking at the gap up front for like half a tenth between the top three. Lucas UK 124.51, Idawu 124.555, and Baldwin 556.001. Between those guys. Interesting to see how James is going to get on. He's obviously shown no lack of pace and obviously using his British GT to good effect as Matthias goes top on 24.2.
Matthias Colligan there, netting a P1 there for the Black Arrows after an impressive performance last week, rounding it off with a great lap time of a 124.285, and I gotta say he's gonna be well chuffed with that. Just exactly what Mercedes have needed coming into the Bahrain Grand Prix. But let's not forget that Jarno Watmere surely is going to be setting another lap time. Surely he's not going to go for last minute dramatics here again like he did in Austria. That was unbelievable. This is a very interesting strategy to say the least. Let's not forget as well, we got a twist at the top because Lucas UK and James Baldwin coming across the line. Josh Idawu down to P4. He's on an out lap. Not content with that P4 position. The competitiveness, Jack, at the top end is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. Now, I'm waiting to see what Freddie Rasmussen is going to do. He hasn't come out and set a lap yet. Donoso's still out on the medium tyres. Nardi still has now switched to the softs. And Jarno Watmere as well, switching back to the soft tyres. So Donoso is really the only man who's trying to get in just into the top 10 on the medium tyre. Interesting strategy call, but there's no harm trying it. But with 2 minutes left, he's committed to using those mediums to try and get into the top 10.
Well, we're certainly going to be in line for some last-minute fireworks here at Bahrain. It's a multi-million-pound circuit, don't forget, or a multi-million-dollar, $150 million spent on the construction of this meteoric track. It's certainly unbelievable. Just looking at every part of it, it just screams majestic. And certainly these drivers are giving us exactly that. Matthias Colligan currently leading the way. The two McLarens, though, a great performance so far from Lucas UK and James Baldwin, who we're currently watching now on our screens, just rounding Sector 2. He's on the softs, looking to once again set a quick lap time. Can he do it? I got a feeling he might have made a little mistake going through, and therefore it has dropped him back in position. Whether he's just resting the tyres to get ready for yet another fast lap. He's only got a minute and a half left. He's going to do it. If he's ever going to do it, he's going to do it now. Just looking further down as well, you got Fabrizio Donoso just rounding the next left-hander. I think he's slowing up as well. Jarno Watmere is a man on a mission as well. We've got a minute, just over a minute of qualifying. Squeaky bum time, folks, is upon us now as the Alfa Romeo makes his way into the next left-hander. Jack, are you ready to see some fireworks, my friend?
I am, because I've just seen Freddie Rasmussen emerge as well, and he's not too far behind Otmar. We know how close these guys were last week. I think it was .002 for pole position last week, but it's really going to be fun now. Donoso, Rasmussen, Otmar, and so many others. Baldwin as well. He's come back into the pit lane. He will not improve on third place, but he's only a thousandth of a second off of his teammate, and the McLarens are on fire today.
They certainly are, but can they be toppled? That's the big question. We've still got a little bit of time left, and Jarno's just crossed the line. I gotta say, just looking further ahead, let's not forget Fabrizio, who's already out on a lap. He is on the medium tyre, so according to this, he's on my medium tyre. Could have sworn he changed to the softs earlier on. Jarno Otmar out on softs nonetheless. A little bit of an error with the telemetry, folks. Obviously, do bear with us. As far as I can see, Jarno is out on softs, looking to gun down on the top end that Matthias Collegon is currently occupying at the moment, as Alvaro Aznar in P11 has just retired from the session as well, content with the 124.921. Jarno Otmar riding on board with him now, rounding the next right-hander. Just a little bit of locking up there going around that bend. Certainly will not help his chances here, but nonetheless, he is the quick man. Certainly is quick after 4 races on the spin, winning already this season. The only driver this season to actually win a race is Jarno Otmar. Can he do it once again to net 5 in a row as he makes his way into the next left-hander now on the outset, pegging his way soon to be around turn 13, where he'll be making his way around the sort of semi-straight before he reaches turns 14 and 15. Get ready, hold on to your hats, folks. This could be a rocket as he now sees his way down towards that last final couple of bends, 14 and 15, dead ahead as he breaks just after the 100. Comes round now, James Baldwin retires in P3. Can Jarno break the deadlock? DRS opens up, here comes the Dutchman, and it's going to be not enough. P13, and he's behind Nicholas Matteo, drops down to 14. Drama here, did not expect that at all. But it looks like so far Matthias Collegon is the man in P1 as Freddie Rasmussen goes into P4.
That is surprising. Jarno, he's only 18th. Fabrizio Donoso could only manage P19 on the mediums. That has not worked at all for him. Now, to say that he's only 18th, it's a half a second, with 7/10 of a second. Josh Idawu, P2. Awesome job from the Welshman in P2. Yeah, Matthias Collegon on pole position, but this is going to be even more interesting. Now, Jarno Otmar is going to have to come from the back of the grid alongside Fabrizio Donoso. This is going to be fun.
So what's he going to do then? Strap on the hards, hope for the best, go to the end to try and overtake everything in sight. Surely that's Jarno's strategy. Certainly we saw that in Austria, folks, and it paid off for him. Fabrizio Donoso, this time, setting his time on the mediums, it looks like. Currently on a 125.978 in P19. Fabrizio obviously looking to don a similar strategy as what Jarno Otmar is doing. Looking further up, of course, Simon Vigan currently down in P9. Haas currently occupying Ps 2 and 9 at this stage. Ben Szabo, after an impressive visit last week, has sort of found his pace a little bit now. He's up into P8 in the top 10 once again. Great showing from him. And looking further up, of course, let's not forget Freddie Rasmussen up in P5. Let's not forget his race pace is probably better than his qualifying pace. We'll look forward to seeing what he can do, certainly around the circuits of Bahrain. This could be Freddie's chance of securing victory here. But let's not forget Hayes' performance last week. Matthias Collegon. Will this be the day that he gets his first win of the season?
We'll have to wait and see. Ido is certainly not going to let it make it easy for him, and he's also got 2 McLarens of Lucas UK and James Baldwin. Freddie Rasmussen P5. It is not going to be easy as well. I believe, just kind of hearing as well, Otmar was trying for P11 for an alternate strategy. Tried to back off to get P11, but misjudged it and ended up 18th. So that's how quickly it can go wrong.
Well, certainly very punishing, I've got to say. But nonetheless, that is your grid order here, folks. Matthias Collegon, P1. What a drive there from the Mercedes man. Once again, tickling the top step. Josh Idawu back in the top end as well. Lucas UK and James Baldwin capping off 3rd and 4th on the grid for McLaren. Freddie Rasmussen, the detective, in P5. Will he be solving mysteries here today? Manuel Biancaglia in P6. Falcon Nardi in P7. Ben Szabo, P8. Great qualifying for him once again as well. Simon Vigang in P9. Onyx P10. Impressive. Steve there in P11. Falcon Tim in P12. Nicholas Matteo. Can he rise up the grid order this time once again? Falcon Roy in P14. Alvaro 15. Calcifer 16. Ruben Vallejo 17th. Jarno Otmar P18. Fabrizio Donoso P19. And Yanni in 20th. We'll be right back with you folks after these messages. Welcome back, folks, here with me and Jack here, getting ready for the Bahrain Grand Prix. The drivers are about to go out on the formation lap. Don't forget as well, we're sponsored by HyperX here at ORL. Don't forget to check out their Twitter account. Obviously, give them a cheeky follow. Plenty of interesting products there as well, certainly in the wireless technology sector of things. Do check them out. They provide all sorts of esports professional equipment, not to mention stuff to make your desk a lot easier to work around in, certainly given the fact that it is wireless. The predicted pit stop strategy though, Jack, obviously they're throwing around the two-stop, obviously given the fact that the tyre wear is very, very tricky around Bahrain. I'd imagine the two-stop is generally what a lot of the drivers may plumb for.
Yeah, it looks like it. Just having a look down, everyone past P10 and P11 pretty much is on the hard compound tyres. So they're going to go long into the race, and that's quite an aggressive strategy, the hards to the softs, and we'll see how that pays off for them. Obviously, the top 10 have to do the race on the set that they qualified on, so they're all on the soft tyre. And then we have Stive and Yanni Vitsanimi on medium tyres. The rest are all on hard tyres, so watch out for Donoso, Opmeer, watch out for pretty much everybody after 11th place, because it's going to be incredible to see how that's going to end up when they're on the faster tyre at the end of this race.
Yeah, there's no doubt the strategy that certainly the likes of Jarno Opmeer and Fabrizio Donoso are going to be donning here at this race. It's going to be very interesting, folks, because naturally this is a grid order that we have seldom seen this year. Matthias Collegon obviously impressive last week. We know he has typical race pace, but obviously this is going to be a very different strategy to what he's used before. So let's see if he's able to lead from the front, because that's obviously what he's going to have to do here at Bahrain. Judge his pit stops correctly in order to make or take maximum efficiency out of his tyres. Not forgetting Josh Idawu there in P2, the Welshman, who's able to cultivate a great strategy himself. But let's not forget the experience that is James Baldwin, obviously experienced in so many levels of motorsport, esports, whether it be in real racing, esports. He's a man not to be taken lightly, and certainly his qualifying pace certainly shows him that. Lucas UK, his teammate, exactly the same. But watch out for Freddie Rasmussen as well, because I'm sure he'll throw up a little bit of a cheeky number or two as we now wait for the lights to go red as the drivers get ready on the grid, folks. It's about to go off here at Bahrain. Keep it with us. First light, second light, third light, fourth light, the fifth light! And it's pedal to the metal. Go, 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 go. Matthias Collegon gets away a little slowly there, but here comes Josh Idawu, the Welshman. Here, packing a punch, the Red Dragon, breathing fire here at Bahrain. Here comes Matthias Collegon on the inside. Can't quite challenge. Josh leads the way. Here comes Lucas UK on the inside of Matthias Collegon in behind Freddie Rasmussen. What a start there by Freddie Rasmussen, the Red Bull with wings, attacking the front end. Here comes Freddie on the inside as they make their way through the cheeky left and right. Here comes the Red Bull, diving on the inside. He snaps at P3. What a move, Jack. Electrifying start here, all across the grid.
Oh, Rasmussen absolutely committed to that. McLaren's going at it now. James Baldwin gets the move done on Lucas UK for P4, but Josh Idawu nailed the start. I mean, they got a similar reaction time, but he nailed the traction. Idawu now 7/10 clear of Collegon. Rasmussen absolutely nailed it around the outside of the McLarens into P3. So Baldwin up the fourth, Lucas UK, then Nardi, Biancola, Onyx, Vigang, and Ben Sawa losing spots. As Jarno Opmeer still 19th on the grid. Donoso making good ground. He's into 15th already. So good job from Donoso and from Freddie Rasmussen.
Welcome back, Fabrizio Donoso, back up to P15 here for his Renault team. In behind though, Falcon Nardi ganging up on the rear end of Lucas UK. Whether a move can be made here initially, obviously no DRS until lap 3, folks. We now see the two McLarens locking up round the final couple of bends now as they make their way down the stretch now. Josh Idawu setting the initial fastest lap, no surprise there, at 1:30.417 as we look further up the grid. Freddie Rasmussen still tackling the top end, trying to gang up on Matthias Collegon. Let's see if he can close down the time gap. In behind him, though, he's got two McLarens gunning after his rear end. Let's see if there could be a twist in the tide for Freddie Rasmussen as they now make their way around the next right-hander. Obviously, traction ever key, as I said before, here at the Bahrain circuit, folks. Obviously, don't pay too much attention to the leaderboard there. It's obviously not correct as we see the drivers now cruising around here in lap 3. The DRS is now active, Jack.
Exactly, and this is the key one when we cross the line next time. Josh Idawu is going to be in trouble if he cannot break the DRS, because DRS is extremely effective with the long straight we have on the front stretch. We've got this section as well that they're going down. This is where the MotoGP starts when they are here. Matthias Collegon P2, Rasmussen just hanging in there 8/10 behind, but Baldwin now starting to put some little bit of pressure on the Dane right now, and the Red Bull, and as well Falcon Nardi putting some pressure on Lucas UK. Biancola also going with the Renault. Then there's a small gap back to Onyx, Weigang, Ben Sabo, then Steve, Matteo, Tim, Vallejo, then Donoso, Alvaro, Jarno Otmir, Calcifier, Jano Vitsanimi, and Falcon Roy, who appears to have had a problem down at the back in 20th spot.
Well, looking here, Ben Szabo literally within well, it says on my telemetry, a 10th of a second in behind Simon Vigang. Surely a move can be made here as they make their way down towards turn 1. Maybe not, though. The DRS has now become active. Folks, do apologise. Wasn't the last lap. Once again, Cody's given us a little bit of a headache here, but nonetheless, we are still racing here at Bahrain as we now see Simon Vigang in ahead of Ben Szabo. The DRS train still active here at the Bahrain, the Sakhir International Circuit, as they make their way down towards turn 4. You can see ahead of him VSR Onyx still holding his own, moving up a couple of places there. Onyx doing an incredible showing there from himself, certainly benefited from a decent start. And you can see there Ben Szabo crawling all over the rear end there, losing a bit of time though on the outset heading into that real tricky right hand bend there. Certainly nearly lost the back end and certainly lost the time gap there that he held behind Simon Vigang. As they're now around turn 10 now, locking up there from Simon Vigang. A very tricky corner, as we have discussed, and certainly a nightmare for many F1 esports drivers alike.
Yeah, Ben Szabo is the last car on track that's running on the soft tyre, stive behind, and he's got a train of hard compound runners. So you can see now up front, Collegon is now within range of Josh Idawu to certainly get past on the back straight. He's almost broken DRS on Freddie Rasmussen, but Rasmussen is still just about in that DRS. But Idawu is in trouble now because this is a long straight. Collegon is surely going to nip past here with the DRS as they head down the straight. Is he close enough to try and nip one down the inside, or will he hold back for another lap or two? I don't think he's going to be close enough to throwing up the inside there, but you can see how much he closed up on the straight.
Absolutely, he's within half a second anyway, and he'll have another DRS zone here ahead of him. No doubt maybe waiting for the second DRS zone to make an effective overtake, as we now see Josh Idawu still maintaining that P1 spot though. He has not really broken too much into the under the 0.4 of a second gaps between him and Matthias Collegon as they make their way around the next right into the next left. You've got to be very certainly very precise when you take those quick bends. Just locking up there, Josh Idawu. The Welshman seemed to struggle for a bit of traction out of that right-hander, but doing okay. Still currently holding his own in P1. Now makes his way around the tricky turn 10 indeed. Locking up once again. Perhaps took it a little bit better than Matthias Collegon there as they bomb their way down the stretch. Freddie Rasmussen, let's not forget, in P3 still there as well. James Baldwin nearly half a second behind him at this moment in time as they're around turn 11, heading into what will be turn 12. Another right-hander that you've got to try and cling on to before you reach turn 13. But at the moment, healthy time gap separates each of these cars, Jack.
Freddie Rasmussen gained nearly half a second on Collegon on that lap alone, so Rasmussen really starting to put some pressure on, but Baldwin is going with him as well. So this is really hotting up right here. I think Idawu is possibly just saving ERS to deploy all of it on this back straight to try and defend from Collegon. 0.4 of a second between them now. Does he go for it this time? Is he close enough to go for it as they head towards turn 1 once again, closing in 0.2 down to almost 1/10 of a second. He shows himself on the inside, but again, doesn't try anything untowards very early on in the race. And of course the tyres now, they don't last long around Bahrain, so they need to make sure that they don't wear them out too soon.
Absolutely not. They're now bombing down the stretch now before they reach the next right-hander, that being turn 4. Josh Idawu once again locking up slightly. Looks to be having a little bit of trouble with his brakes. Obviously, you've got to be careful, obviously, with the tyre wear. Like you said, Jack, Sakhir is certainly a very, very tricky circuit to maintain good tyre grip. And obviously, that's why we have 2 pit stops, obviously, within 29 laps. We now see Josh Idawu making his way down through turns 9 into turns 10. Maybe break a little bit more. You can hear Bias Collegon there, a nudge in the back from the Mercedes. You can see it, but even brought Freddie Rasmussen into play. Not to mention James Baldwin, as we now see James Baldwin put into the back of Freddie now. The Red Bull nearly had his comeuppance there behind Matthias Collegon, who nearly went into the back of Josh Idawu, nearly taking the Haas driver out. Drama going round turn 10 there, Jack.
I think that could have been a little bit... Oh, Weigand's out. What's happened to Simon Weigang? Is in the wall. There's been a big one there between two cars, but Weigang is out of this race. Colligan's got a penalty, 3-second penalty for corner cutting as well. So now that's really going to hurt him as well. But I think Idawu, just slowed it up on the apex to maybe force Colligan to slow down on the apex. But we'll see now. Does he respond and go for a move here once again? He's closer than he has been last time. He's closing fast this time, but he closes the DRS early and keeps behind for now.
Yeah, I think he's waiting patiently. Obviously, he knows that Josh Idawu is really trying to throw everything down here to try and maintain his P1 spot as they now make their way down towards turn 4 now. You can see there the Mercedes really trying to crawl all over the back of the house. When is the move going to be made here? As we see Matthias lock up maybe just a little bit there, heading round that right-hander as they now bomb their way through the quick section of Sector 2. Very shortly, they'll be making their way into the notorious turn 8 as they round it now, heading into shortly turns 9 and 10. And we're in lap 6 of 29. Obviously, still a long way to go here, folks. And we haven't yet seen how the pit strategies will come into play just yet, as we now see Matthias Colligan once again opening up the DRS. Can he reach Josh Idawu on this straight? No, not this time, obviously, making his way into turn 11 once again. And the time gaps still remain healthy, albeit James Baldwin plugged into the back of Freddie Rasmussen.
I think the man really under pressure is actually Freddie Rasmussen at the moment, because James Baldwin really piling some pressure onto the Dane as they come through the right-hander heading towards the last corner now. All equally spaced as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars. Onyx is also right in there as well, so the top 8 are all within shot as they head through the last corner now. Baldwin really close to the back of Rasmussen, but Rasmussen got a decent exit that time, so he should be able to hold on as they come towards turn 1 once again. Does Colligan go for it this time? He moves to the inside, but shows up in the mirrors. This time just letting him know, maybe next time I'll go for it.
No, and I've got to say, a real crucial lock-up there from Josh Idawu, and that will cost him again a little bit of time as they head down the stretch now, and it's 2/10 of a second back against Colligan. Josh Idawu immediately trying to defend, goes into the centre of the track. Here comes the switcheroo from Matthias Colligan. They're going it together now, into the quick left and right. The black arrow coming through on the inside. Josh defends, the Welshman strikes, punches back against the black arrow. Not enough for Matthias, he is stuck in P2. Here comes Freddie on the inside. On the outside, the Red Bull is not able to capitalise. They head down turn 10. Will there be a late break going around this all stations corner? Oh, wing damage on the front end of Freddie Rasmussen there. That's not going to help his prospects. End plate missing off the front left side of that Red Bull's wing.
Yeah, misjudged the braking on towards the left-hander there. Damaged the wing. Falcon Nardi as well outbraked himself. He's also got wing damage on the same side, and he's dropping away now as well. So Rasmussen just got it a little bit wrong, but the end play is not going to be happy, and that's going to leave him vulnerable to James Baldwin, certainly. When he comes through the last corner, he needs the exit, but when you have wing damage, it's so hard when you're running in the draft as well to keep yourself from understeering straight off the road. And into the pit lane comes Josh Idawu.
He does indeed. Obviously, that early pit stop, we said the soft tyres obviously would be very much in jeopardy for the first few laps. Obviously, this track, very, very tricky to try and cultivate a decent strategy. Very testing, even for the best of these esports drivers. And certainly when they're amongst the best, it does pile on that little bit of extra pressure as well that we're all used to seeing. As we now see Jarno Opmeer and Fabrizio Donoso moving up together into Ps 10 and 11. The Renault and the Alfa being strangely quiet on this lap as we now see Jarno Opmeer on the back of Fabrizio Donoso coming down through the next right-hander at turn 4. The Alfa grips onto the back of the Renault. Voulez-vous coucher, he says, moves up into P10. Jarno Opmeer rising through the ranks. He is now in the top 10 of this classification.
He's been lining up that move for about 5 laps. He's been sticking in behind Fabrizio and now is finally ahead of him inside the top 10. So you can see most of the guys have switched on to the hard compound tyre, and Yanni Vitsanimi is out in a big way. Just seeing there goes his teammate Onyx. He's been backwards into the wall. Virtual safety car is out, and we'll see now that could help our leaders come in and bolt on a set of hard tyres.
Absolutely. There's still a long way to go, though. Obviously, it's very, very... Oh, Jarno going for a little bit of a ride there. Very nearly lost the car going round turn 11. Obviously, the VSC has come into play. The drivers have to try and drop their delta times at this moment. Steve obviously tucked in behind Ben Sabo, one of the few drivers currently on the medium tyres. He's got 7 laps on them at the moment. Currently driving a good race, though. Ferrari having I've got to say, a very difficult season. And they could do with an upturn in their fortunes. As we now see the drivers initially diving to the pits, that being Ben Szabo diving in there now, as well as Matthias Collegon. And looking now, James Baldwin also in the pits. Now, that means that Freddie Rasmussen now leads this Bahrain Grand Prix, albeit for the time being. And what will we be seeing now from the Danish drivers? He now makes his way towards the next right-hander, Lucas UK in P2. After a very impressive qualifying session, Steve into P3. And let's not forget as well, Ruben Vallejo making his way up the grid order as well, P5, with Nicholas Mateo in P4. Steve also in P3. But Jack, obviously lots of early action, and it's difficult to see who could potentially win this, because obviously with two-stop strategy, it could throw up so many question marks.
Certainly could, and just having a look, Josh Idawood did come out in front of Matthias Collegon, so that is essentially the net race lead at the moment. But I tell you what, Onyx jumped ahead of James Baldwin, so that's an excellent job from the racing points. He is now into what would essentially be P4, P3. Just seen Steve make his way past Lucas UK, because Lucas is also carrying front wing damage on the left-hand side as well from the same corner. So that corner is proving really, really tricky for these guys. And it is causing a lot of problems when you've got a concertina effect coming up right there. But Freddie Rasmussen, like I said, is leading. Steve is P2. He's on the medium tire. He's on a different strategy to the rest of these guys. They're going to keep an eye on him, but of course now. And what I meant to say actually is now Fabrizio Donoso received a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. And there goes Freddie Rasmussen getting a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And that's going to cost him big.
Absolutely, certainly considering the fact that we've got heavy DRS trains here, as we now see Jarno Watmere on the back of Falcon Tim, heading down the straight here at Bahrain as they come into turn one. Here comes the Alfa on the inside of the other Mercedes driver, Falcon Tim holding firm. Is he able to keep Jarno at bay? The Dutchman not able to be potent here at the first couple of corners of Bahrain. He'll get his chance though, going down the next straight with the DRS open. He goes through. Great move there by Jarno after the ending of the VSC. He is out to P4. The Alfa Romeo back up the grid order, P4 to the Dutchman's name.
And now he's got Ruben Vallejo to dispatch next in the Williams, but Steve now leads. Just having a quick look back, James Baldwin did just overtake Onyx for P10, essentially, so he got him on the DRS section. And Donoso, of course, because of Freddie Rasmussen's 5-second penalty, has now come out in front of him. So that will cost Rasmussen time as they come through here, but Idaho still now in the net race lead at the moment, and we're waiting for the rest of the guys to do their stops. Of course, Matthias Collegon 1.3 behind James Baldwin, currently there in P3. But Onyx kind of is the one that's benefited the most out of this, because he sits there in a nice position, and you can see now Rasmussen starting to pile pressure onto Fabrizio Donoso, who pulled over to the left-hand side, and Rasmussen goes straight through. Donoso smart enough to not fight that.
No, absolutely. Playing a very coy game is Fabrizio Donoso. Obviously knows that he's got 9 laps on his hard tyres, as opposed to Freddie Rasmussen's 0 laps on his fresh hard tyres. Still a long way to go, folks. Lap 11 on 29. Still a long way to go. Naturally, plenty of twists in the tail as Jarno Watmere overtakes and dispatches Ruben Vallejo going into turn 1, into turn 2 and 3. And the Dutchman once again moving up the order. Can he cultivate yet again a winning strategy here to make it 5 from 5? Certainly he's the man. Don't count him out. Currently leading the championship with 100 points to his name. Triple digits here for the Dutchman. And in behind him, obviously, Barry Boreman there with 46 points, who isn't actually here today to represent the Mercedes team. Like last week, he was not with us. Matthias Collegon obviously has been driving for the team nonetheless. And doing extremely well. Hayes has certainly improved this season, and it's great to see, because last season he had a great year, was just unable to reach the heights of his compatriots here. But he's come out this season now, a podium finish last week in P2, and he's come here, netted pole position, and is still very much in the frame to take the top end of this race. He's currently 1.1 seconds behind Josh Idawu at this stage, currently in P8 to 9, those two. As we now see Jarno Watmere around in the next right-hander. You can see there ahead of him his teammate Nicholas Mateo, in behind him Ruben Vallejo, who is just overtaken. No doubt there'll be plenty of twists in the tail here as they now round the final couple of right-handers. Jack, do you think he'll be able to do it based on obviously what we've seen? Obviously Austria, we've proven to see that Jarno can cope in terms of trying to win from the back. But do you think that it'll be enough here at Bahrain, obviously given the fact that the strategy differs oh so much?
Well, I mean, if anybody can do it, it's Jarno Watmere, because he's pulled off some amazing drives already this season. I think he could, because, of course, remember, Rasmussen is not going to be a factor, really, because he's got his 5-second penalty as well. Colligan as well suffering from a 3-second penalty. So I reckon if Jarno keeps it clean, looks after the tyres, he really could be a threat for the win. We'll wait and see whether he can pull it off. But either way, if he got inside the top 5, remember, he started 18th, so we can't rule out that if it's a top 5, it's a fantastic result nonetheless.
Yeah, it's certainly a huge ask given the fact that, like we said before, this track is oh so testing. Certainly with it being a sandy circuit, traction is very difficult. Not to mention so testing on the rubber of the tyres. As we now see Falcon Tim rounding turn 10. He's got Ruben Vallejo ahead of him. Falcon Alvaro, Ruben Vallejo's teammate in P6. Calcifer in P7, having a reasonable race himself. Very much staying within the group. Josh Idawu there in P8, obviously already pitted. Technically our net leader of this race, with Matthias Colligan, who's actually dropped back, or still maintaining that just over a second gap. And obviously we'll be looking to crunch those numbers down. But obviously we've seen him do it before. The amount of time that he managed to rake back at Australia was absolutely unbelievable. One of the true fast finishers of that Grand Prix that we held down under at the Albert Park Street Circuit. But nonetheless, Matthias Colligan in net P2 as things stand, obviously subject to pit stops. James Baldwin in behind him as well. Onyx, like you said before, a great show of intelligence there to move his way up into P11. Really cultivated the strategy superbly and doing extremely well at the racing point.
Yeah, doing a really nice job. Managed to jump James Baldwin in the pit stops, but of course on pace now he's just fallen back a little bit because he's on the same strategy. See there, his tyres are a lap older than James, so he got the undercut on him. We're just seeing now Freddie Rasmussen on the back of Manuel Biancola, so we'll see if he can get past, because they're on a similar strategy. Obviously Biancola is on older medium tyres. He's on a completely different strategy, so Rasmussen needs to dispatch of him pretty quickly. Then also, of course, down in 15th, hasn't stopped yet, and he's a long way down compared to the guys of Jarno Ottmeyer and the like.
Absolutely, still a long way to go though, folks. We generally see a lot of the action tend to happen moving into lap 20, because obviously that's when the tyres and the strategy that they've employed come into effect. James Baldwin now making his way down the stretch. Obviously he's got 2.5 seconds to find on Matthias Colligan. That gap has certainly increased somewhat over the last 13 laps, and I've got to say it's really going to be tough for him to pull that back, obviously given the fact that they're all on a similar strain of tyre compounds. We now see James Baldwin lock up slightly around that tricky right-hander. Just remember, a second in Formula 1 is so vital, it is so massive in comparison to what a second may be in generic usual time, but obviously in Formula 1, given the fact that these cars go at such amazing speeds, 1,000 brake horsepower in behind these cars, it certainly does make things all the more tricky, as we now see James Baldwin coming down towards turn 1. Naturally the McLaren looking to once again impress his force on this field. Naturally, like we said before, a winner in the GT series on his first start nonetheless, and I've got to say he's come here once again like a duck to water here in the Formula 1 series here at Online Racing League. It's been so good to see him back, and I'm sure we'll see more from him as well. As we look further up the grid, we see Falcon Tim now trying to close on the back of Ruben Vallejo. Jarno Ottmeyer now within half a second of his teammate Nicolas Matteo now. That's moving into the final narrower tenths of a second. We now see Jarno on the inside of his teammate, and that looks like team orders to me. A nice easy switch there. Jarno now up to P2, Jack.
Yeah, exactly. So into P2, chasing after our leader Steve, right? Or Steve, who's now 13 laps on the medium tyre, 2.4 seconds ahead. He's got Jarno Ottmeyer behind him, so I think Steve will be coming in quite soon, as those mediums have gone quite a long way. The hards will go a little bit longer, and the Alfa Romeos together. Ruben Vallejo still P4, Tim, Alvaro, Calcifer, Idawu, and Colligan. And Colligan has now got within DRS range of Idawu, actually.
Certainly has, and Colligan certainly not a man to be put down. Certainly in a place you can't count him out. He is so quick, he can cut down lap times, a lumberjack of lap times, that's for sure. As we now see him try to close the gap on Josh Idawu. We've just seen him there trickle down into the 6 tenths, now 5 tenths as they make their way down towards turn 1. He has managed to close it by nearly half a second on the Welshman Josh Idawu. A great show of pace here from Matthias Colligan in his Black Arrow of the Mercedes, obviously doing the business here in the absence of Barry Burremand and his teammate usually. As we now see Josh lock up again, running a little wide though. Matthias not able to really count on the to show improve his time gap despite Josh Idaru's lockup going around that right-hander. As you now see, Jarno Watmere really trying to close on Steve now. He's within near enough 2 seconds, but he's still got a bit to find. Don't forget, Steve is on the medium tyres. Maybe he still has a little bit of life in them as they make their way around towards turn 10. We're now on board or watching Matthias Colligan now come round this left-hander. Ahead of him, you can see there Josh Idaru, the Welshman. And you can see there the time has really shrunk now. He's within half a second once again. And you've got to think, it's only a matter of time before Matthias Colligan makes this move happen.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think Idaru was going to make it easy, but he's certainly closing up quite quickly to the back of him as they head down the back straight now. And Steve is in. Steve is in. Jarno Watmere will now lead the race here. So it's Alfa Romeo 1-2, and it's Vallejo, Tim, Alvaro, and we'll see now. I think does anybody else come in here? He's the only man on mediums. He switched to the soft tires. A very different strategy from Steve, but it's what we like to see, mixing it up a bit.
I'm wondering whether Jarno is actually going to try and go for
God, sorry. I just saw that was Ruben Vallejo going miles off the circuit in turn 2, and he's got gravel on the tyres now. Alvaro now, Tim has to stay behind now, but not quite sure how Vallejo managed to keep that in check. Went miles off and still holds on to P3 though.
Well, he's going to find it very difficult because he's got the Mercedes of Falcon Tim now really swarming all over the back end of him, and Falcon knows he's in trouble of his own because he's got Alvaro in behind him. That's Ruben Vallejo's teammate here tonight for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and obviously you can see there a lock up there from Falcon Alvaro as they now round it heading down towards the straight. You can see there Jarno Watmere currently in the lead. Nicholas Matteo, his teammate, Alfa Romeo in Ps 1 and 2 as things stand, both of them trying to go the distance as best as possible on the hard tyres, accruing 15 laps apiece on that compound as they now make their way down towards the semi-straight before they take the final couple of bends onto the home stretch before they start lap 17 of 29. And you've got to think maybe a potential one-stop strategy is Jarno once again are going to try and wow spectators by trying to hold on to the compound. He now dives into the pit lane. Jarno Watmere in the pits, Jack.
Yeah, they had to make a call because Alfa Romeo couldn't double stack there, so they had to make the choice. As we now see these guys fight it out. We've just seen Alvaro moving up into third place behind his teammate, makes the move on Falcon Tim, slots in there nicely. So now Matteo's got to go do a big push now. So Jarno Watmere onto the medium tyre, and I think that could go the distance as they cross the line now. Where's he going to come out? He's going to come out in the gap between just in front of Nardi, I think he's come out there. So good stuff from Jarno Watmere. He's got some nice clean air, and he's just come out just behind Freddie Rasmussen nonetheless.
Well, this could be a real dogfight, a battle of the titans here at Bahrain. Obviously, don't forget, Freddie Rasmussen, 6-lap-old hard tyres. Jarno Watmere on fresh mediums. And no doubt, I know what he's thinking. He's going to try and take these to the end. And this is going to be a heroic performance if he can pull this off. Freddie, you can see, having a look down the inside of Steve further up the grid. You can see there the Red Bull obviously trying to get through as many drivers as he can. He knows he needs to try and chop through the prancing horses here to try and improve his gap between him and Jarno Watmere. He knows the Dutchman's coming. We could be in for fireworks here towards the end of this Grand Prix, Jack.
Steve is on fresh soft, so he needs to get past his teammate here as they come up the hill for the 17th time. He's going to slot through on the inside. Does he get it? Oh, this contact between the Ferraris and the Spinola right in front of us right there. Manuel Buncala manages to keep going with the front wing down, but Steve somehow manages to recollect it, but the Ferraris come together. Ruben Vallejo comes into the pits. Matteo still staying out. He's doing a long stint. I wonder, could he try and take them even longer, go on the softs maybe?
Double damage though on Biancolia's Ferrari. He's got to come into the pit surely and get a new nose cone, and he does indeed dive into the pit lane. Jarno Watmere now chasing down Steve. Here comes the Alpha, diving down the inside, going into turn 1. The Dutchman here once again. Money-making move here at Bahrain. Ka-ching, ka-ching. Jarno's up to P10. The Dutchman now chasing Freddie, who knows he's on his tail.
Steve is coming back in him around the outside. Can he get it done? It's really good racing between. He's on fresh softs as well. He got a 3-second time penalty for cutting the corner there, but he's alongside Jarno Watmere coming through the S section. Brilliant. Somebody has to secede the position. He tried his best, but Jarno Watmere holds on to 10th place, but man, he had to fight for that one. Good effort from Steve though.
A very Leclerc-Vettel scenario there between the likes of Steve and Manuel Biancaglia. Certainly not something the Ferrari team would want to see. And that has relegated Biancaglia certainly down to the bottom of the grid order, given the fact he's now had to don a fresh set of hard tyres to take him to the end, and obviously a new nose cone as well. But Steve now overtaken, despite being on fresh softs, by Jarno Watmere, who is on fresh medium tyres. And once again, the time gap between him and Freddie Rasmussen is starting to close. You can see the Red Bull starting to come into the visor of the Alpha. You can see him in the distance ahead of Freddie Rasmussen. You got Ben Sabo and Onyx, who has driven impeccably here in lap 19 of 29. They're about to cross the line to commence their lap, their lap 19, should I say, as Falcon Tim is leading the way as they make their way down the stretch. Jarno Watmere, without a doubt, setting the fastest lap of a 128.147 on the medium tyres. This is surely going to be Jarno time now. Is he going to try and pack this punch towards the end? Remember, he needs to try and keep these medium tyres fresh until the end of the race.
I think Jarno Watmere is in the box seat now at this point as the lap, he's on fresh medium tyres and he's catching the guys who are on older hard compound tyres and not going to be able to put up much of a fight here as Fabrizio Donoso sets the fastest lap of the race. He's in 16th, though, a long way down. So Falcon Tim is the only driver to not yet have pitted as he's out in front in the lead. Josh Idawu now with Matthias Colligan half a second behind him. Remember, Colligan has got a 3-second penalty. So Idawu, he can let him through, but he can't let him get off into the distance here. James Baldwin about 2 seconds back. Onyx, then Ben Salmon, Freddie Rasmussen, and Jarno Watmere, who has closed right up to them. Steve is going with them as well on the fresh soft tyre. Jarno Watmere needs to dispatch them very quickly, but it's not going to be easy to get past Freddie Rasmussen.
He is within 0.3 of a second now. Here comes Jarno. You can see this now. The Battle of the Titans is very much underway now. You can see there Freddie Rasmussen ahead there in the Red Bull as they dive down towards the next right-hander before they take the home straight. You've got to think now that Jarno's going to try and make use of that medium tyre now, the fresher tyre that has served him so well so far as they make their way past the DRS line, opening up the back flap. Here comes the Dutchman. Can he get past the Dane? That is Freddie Rasmussen. As you can see there, pitting Falcon Tim, trying to defend now is Freddie Rasmussen. Here comes Jarno Watmere, diving down the inside. Here comes the Alpha, holding on, not able to get the move done. But will he get DRS? Going down the second straight. Yes, he will. He's plugged right into the back of Freddie Rasmussen. Will he make a late move down the inside? Here comes Jarno. Mano around the right-hander. Here comes Jarno going down through the quick left and right. Freddie Rasmussen concedes. Jarno's in P6. The Dutchman moves up yet another place. Ben Sabo next.
Excellent job from Rasmussen. Change for the lead. Matthias Colligan leads this race now. I saw him get the move done on the back straight in the second DRS zone. So Idawu down to second place now. And Otmere now fighting with Ben Sabo on the outside of the left-hander. You cannot make it work there, but he's made it work on the DRS section. Has to now go in front of Ben Sabo. Great move from the Dutchman as he now chases after Onyx, who's just picked up a penalty. I think Otmere could do this, you know.
What did I say? Lap 20 was when the magic happens, and it certainly has. Jarno Watmere now chasing Onyx. Matthias Colligan, though, as you said, Jack, taking the lead of this race. We have 9 laps remaining. Jarno Watmere once again eating the hard tyres for breakfast here with his fresh medium compound. Only 2 laps attained on this yellow writing on these tyres. Only on the mediums, 2 laps. That's all he's done. He's still got plenty of time left to accrue the remaining positions. Can he challenge here now? He moves aside on Onyx now. The Racing Point, the Pink Panther. He has been dispatched. P4 for the Dutchman. And next up is the world's fastest gamer. But Jarno's going to have to pull off the world's fastest drive, Jack.
Ben Sabo now on Onyx on the outside line as well. Steve has got Freddie Rasmussen in the background as well. So Rasmussen falling by the wayside. Ben Sabo gets it done on the outside of Onyx. But Jarno Watmere, he's got 6 seconds to make up now as he chases after James Baldwin. That's not going to be an easy overtake as they come towards the end of this race. They're going to cross the line for lap 22 next time. Colligan leads. Idawu is still in the lead though with the penalty. So he needs to make sure he doesn't go off into the distance. But Otmere now has got to get his head. He's got to do TT times to catch these guys now.
Certainly does. And in behind as well, Steve obviously once again trying to make use of those soft tyres. He's right behind VSR Onyx as they make their way down towards turn 11. Falcon Tim goes ahead of Falcon Nardi there as we now see the Ferrari of Steve now making his way around the next left-hander, around towards the next right, that being turn 13, or turn 12, sorry, before turn 13. The Racing Point locks up there. Here comes the Ferrari with a quick sweeping move. It is going to be Steve, or Steve should I say. He moves into the back of the Racing Point to try and cultivate yet more pace as they come down towards the next double right-hander before the home straight. He can't yet get it done, and Freddie is still in amongst it as well, looking to challenge as they now made their way down the stretch now. You can see there Steve moving in on the inside of Onyx before turn 1. You can see there, very comprehensive move by the certainly the Ferrari, the pouncing horse, prancing all over the Racing Point. The Pink Panther dispatched. The Red Dragon moves up yet another spot, P6.
Good job. Now he's got to get past Ben Sabo, but remember, he's on the soft tyre, so they will fall off quite significantly towards the end of this stint. So we'll see if he's able to hold on versus these guys. Meanwhile, the gap up front still keeping at about half a second. Ida was just pacing him now. Baldwin 2.2. Yarder Watmer brought the gap down by 0.8 of a second on that lap. And it could be enough to catch up to Baldwin, but I don't know if it's quite going to be enough to catch the leaders. It's going to be very tight. He needs to put the times in to get this.
He's going to have to seriously push. Don't forget, he's got 5.2 seconds to find, folks, and he's got to do that within the next 7 laps. But the Dutchman, he is a man of pace. He knows what he's doing. Let's not write him off just yet. He's certainly got the lap times. If he can nail at least, he's going to need to be ideally a second a lap to at least try and make some sort of impression on the leaders and make a convincing win. But then, like we said, this could go right down to the wire. Phenomenal driving to at least try and push those hards for as long as he did, and to change onto the mediums when he did as well. In behind him, Ben Sabo in P5 having a great drive as well once again. In behind him though, Stive on fresh softs diving down the home stretch now past the paddock. You can see there the prancing horse, that is the Ferrari. In behind him, in comes Freddie Rasmussen making a move on Onyx, going down into turn 1. Can he hold on to the position? I think Freddie can. The day does it. Into P7 for Freddie Rasmussen. Dispatches Onyx, who drops down to P8. Still a great drive though from Onyx to do what he's done so far, but don't count out Freddie. He is now up to P7.
Well, now Otmer is turning up the pace. 4.6 the gap to Baldwin now. So he's really chipping away at that gap. If he takes a second lap, he'll catch Baldwin with 2 laps to go. And if he keeps that pace up, he's going to catch the leaders right at the end of this race. So don't go anywhere as he pulls in the times. But this is just a brilliant display. This man started 18th on the grid and now is fighting for a chance at the win.
I tell you what, it's like a knife cutting through butter with Yarder Watmere at the wheel, certainly making his way through this classification now into P4. 23 laps of 29 so far here, folks. Still a little bit of time left for Yarder Watmere to really strike yet an even more a blistering impression on this grid order. He's only ascertained 5 laps on these tyres. Remember, we saw a lot of drivers pitting around the 14 lap period. Obviously, he'll be able to get way before that point, obviously before the end of the race. James Baldwin, not forgetting though, is not a man to be messed with. He is very quick. He's not the world's fastest gamer for nothing. You can see him there in the distance of the home stretch there, and surely it's only a matter of time before we start seeing these guys tussle. But for how long can Jarno keep up this pace?
Yeah, because you got to remember he's going to be using up the grip in those tyres. In the background, you see Stive on the outside of Ben Sabo into turn 1. Can he get it done? Yes, he can. Lovely move from the Ferrari. But now, of course, the AlphaTauri will have DRS as well as they come down the back straight. Can he come back in and watch out for Rasmussen as well? He's going to move to the outside of the AlphaTauri and try and sweep around the outside of the sister car. It can't quite do it. Has to hang back for now. His tyres are old now at this stage. So his only real chance of getting past is going to be later, a little bit later on the back straight, of course. Now, Stive on fresh softs. They're going to start wearing out pretty quickly now. 7 laps into the stint. And Yarder Watmere bringing the gap down. 3.5 seconds it's at right now. He's flying, and it's going to be close at the end whether he can take the lead in this race.
Yeah, you know he's going to be pushing. But fair play so far for Matthias Collicon. Certainly, once again, a very comprehensive drive from the Mercedes man. But it's not over yet by any stretch of the imagination. Not forgetting Josh Idowu. Don't forget James Baldwin as well, who is still in amongst it. Jarno Watmere, though, cutting the lap times down. The delta is now up 3.1 seconds. He has closed it off by another 0.2 and managed to really try and close the gap on James Baldwin. He really needs to push now. Can he get within 2 seconds now as he comes down through the stretch? He is on the 2.9 second gap now. You can see the McLaren in front getting ever clearer and clearer. All three cars there going round turn one, as you know. See Jarno making his way around that very same bend now. We're in lap 25 of 29. Don't go away, folks, as Ben Sabo retakes P5.
It's a great battle going on here for P5. Ben Sabo dived, then Freddie Rasmussen. Onyx is still in there. Nicholas Matteo as well. He's on a similar strategy to Jarno Watmere. His tyres are the freshest of anybody's right here. He's caught back up to this train. The Williams behind of Alvaro and Ruben Vallejo, and Falcon Tim on fresher softs as well. They could get themselves right in this at the very end. So the battle for P5 is going to be really intriguing to watch. But look at the gap between Baldwin and Jarno Watmere, 2.4.
It is closing by the half a second, surely. It's been absolutely unbelievable. To lap 25 and 29, we've got none other than 4 laps remaining here, folks. It is going to be absolutely unbelievable. It's going to be close. Jarno Watmere now bringing it down to within 2.2 seconds. He really needs to push now. He needs to get the most out of these medium tyres ASAP before the grip starts to seriously wear off. The Dutchman, though, can see the McLaren now ever closer to the front end of his Alpha as they now make their way down the straight now. The semi-straight before they make their way down the home stretch now. The Armco banner there ahead of them as they make their way, braking just after the 100. In comes the Dutchman, round in the final couple of bends now. The McLaren dead ahead. He opens up the, surely, well, he can't open up the DRS just yet, but he's within 1.7 seconds now, separating the Dutchman and the world's fastest gamer, James Baldwin and Jarno. They're going to be battling. P3 could well be on the cards.
4 laps to go. The gap to the leaders, 4 seconds. So this is going to be really intriguing. He's catching a second a lap on the leaders as well. This is really an amazing drive from Jarno Watmere. He's flying up to James Baldwin. Of course, James Baldwin is losing a ton of time as well to the lead as well. He's dropping off the pace significantly because the hard tyres have gone a long way now as Rasmussen eventually gets it done on Ben Sabo on the inside as Matteo drifts his way through the right-hander and he's catching up to these guys quite quickly as well. He's on for 5th place, I think, Matteo, if he can hold on and keep up the pace that he's on right now. Onyx falling back on older hard tyres, and then Alvaro and Vallejo also on similar strategy to Matteo. But now Otmer's within DRS range. Here we go.
Party on with 3 laps remaining here, folks. Jarno Watmere, the Dutchman, now within, like you said, Jack, DRS range is now ascertained. Can the Alpha get the job done here as he now rounds the next right-hander? James Baldwin there, dead ahead of him. We have got the home stretch still to come, and those mediums are going to be quicker down the straight without a shadow of a doubt, as we now see the McLaren going under the banner, braking just after the 100. Jarno doing the same, locking up slightly there on the inset. But you can see James Baldwin now getting ever closer and clearer to the front end of the Alfa Romeo Sauber as we now see them heading down the straight now past the paddock, the Rolex bar on the right hand side. Jarno now braking just before the 100 metre mark. He's throwing everything into this car now. He is only 0.4 of a second in behind the world's fastest gamer as they ram the next right through the DRS detection zone. Jarno moving in on the inside. James Baldwin is trying to defend on the inside. Jarno going in together with the world's fastest gamer. He gets it done. What a move by the Dutchman. Jack, it's all to play for.
Tried everything in his power, but he just ran out of grip on the hard tyres. Now it's on 3.2 up to Josh Idowu, who is essentially the race leader at this point, because remember, Matthias Collicon has got a 3-second penalty. So right now, Jarno Watmere is on the verge of 2nd place, but he needs to pass Josh Idowu to secure this win. Don't worry about Matthias Collicon, but either way, he'll want to win it on track as well as on penalties. But wow, what a race so far from Jarno Watmere. But the chase is on. We're going to have 2 laps to go across the line. The gap is 3.1 up to Idowu. Can he do it?
That is the big question. 2 laps remaining. Is it enough? That is the big question. Jarno Opmeer doing impeccably, though, to do what he's done. To get into P3 after being towards the back of the grid. Unbelievable to see this once again for the Dutch driver. Don't take anything away from him. It may not be a victory at the end of the race, but nonetheless, he's going to keep pushing. Nothing can stop this Dutchman from wanting to win, and he's going to try and do it here once again at the multi-million circuit of Bahrain. Absolutely unbelievable scenes here in lap 28 and 29 now. And I got to say, I think we're in for even more of a treat. You can see there the 2 leaders, Matthias Collegon and Josh Idawu, dead ahead of him now. The 3 podium sitters now doing battle to find out who is going to win this race. Matthias Collegon still got it at this moment in time. He's currently clear by at least 0.8 of a second from Josh Idawu. The Welshman once again driving a superb drive there in P2 for Haas. As you can see now, Jarno trying to close the gap. 2.5 seconds is the gap now. He is eating at them, I say. The fireworks have started, Jack.
Oh my god, I'm just watching 3 abreast through the S section between Matteo, Alvaro and Vallejo. How on all around goes the Alfa Romeo? Matteo is around, and a big one involving those guys in the middle of the circuit. They were 3 abreast in the S's. Unbelievable, but they somehow managed to come out almost clear. But Fabrizio then also unfortunately out of this race as well. Matteo is out. Big one involving those guys. Gap is down to 2 seconds. Idawu's lost a chunk of time to Matthias Collegon. I think Collegon is on a charge. I think he knows Opmeer is coming. And this is going to be the last lap across the line next time. Can Opmeer do it? It's a lot of time to gain in 1 lap. Can he gain 2 seconds in 1 lap?
Battles as well going on down in the midfield. Falcon Tim going toe-to-toe there with Onyx as they ran the next round. As you can see now, the Racing Point right in the rear of that Mercedes. The Black Arrow once again doing battle with the Racing Point. The Pink Mercedes, they called it. But once again, showing them who the true quicker Mercedes really is. And Falcon Tim proving that fact here at Bahrain. Though, like you said, Matthias Collegon really starting to push now. Josh Idawu, though, in serious danger of losing P2 if he doesn't try and kick on now. Jarno Opmeer is within a second. He's got DRS. Can he get P2? That is the big question now. The Welshman is in jeopardy. He's got to do everything he can to try and defend from this Dutchman, who once again is flying at the end of this Bahrain Grand Prix. Jack, I can't bear to watch.
Oh my lord, because Matthias Collegon's done a push as well. He's pulled it out to 2 seconds, because if he doesn't get to 3 seconds, this is for the race lead between Opmeer and Idawu, and he's close right up to the back of the Welshman. But Matthias Collegon could still do this. It's 2.2 seconds. It's now between Opmeer and Idawu. Down in the DRS section, he's flying up to him right here. The Haas holds on for now. And they come through. This is going to be on the back straight. This is going to be in the fight. This is the last lap, by the way, as they come through the left side, the right-hander. It's going to be so close. Idawu defends, but I think it's going to be too late for Idawu, because he's going to have DRS coming onto the final straight, down to the last corner. Opmeer's got him on the outside line. Unbelievable stuff from Jarno Opmeer through the last corner. Collegon gets it on track, but Jarno Opmeer, 5 from 5. Unbelievable from the Dutchman. What a drive. Take a bow.
Jack, I cannot believe what I've just seen. Jarno Opmeer has done the unthinkable from the back to the front to get his 5th consecutive win of the season. Unruly scenes here at Bahrain. Certainly multi-million pound scenes for sure. The Dutchman netting yet another victory for the Alfa Romeo Sauber team, and he certainly deserves it. What an impeccable, perfect performance. A one-stop strategy, unthinkable. His tyres took him to the end. Not only was it a conservation mission, but also a pace mission, and he ticked both boxes. This man is unstoppable, Jack.
I've just seen Josh Idawu. I'm just looking at his car. He punctured in the last corner. Poor Josh Idawu. He almost had it, but Jarno Opmeer just got him in the last corner. Collegon holds on for second because Idawu crawled over the line with a right rear puncture. You got a feel for him, because he was immense today, but he still can take solace in a podium, I think. But it should have been the race win, but he didn't look after the tyres enough.
And without question, the game has given driver of the day to Jarno Opmeer. I tell you what, if anyone votes different in that link, I'd be very surprised. Unbelievable scenes here. And I gotta say, what a message that is sending to the grid in the Pro Series for the F1 Esports Pro Series. Jarno Opmeer is your winner of the Bahrain Grand Prix at ORL, the online racing league brought to you by HyperX. Absolutely unbelievable. What a drive as well from Hayes as well to take P2. Deserved every bit of that. What a drive from Colligon. But unbelievable. Obviously, congratulations as well to Josh Idawu for getting back into the podium places. Absolute scenes here at Bahrain. Absolute scenes. As you can see, that confirms that Jarno Opmeer is your race winner. 5 out of 5 for the Dutchman. Matthias Colligon there in P2 for Mercedes. Josh Idawu for Haas there, the Welshman, doing it for his fellow countrymen there in P3. James Baldwin, the world's fastest gamer, P4. Ruben Vallejo, P5. You got Freddie Rasmussen, P6. Falcon Tim, P7. Ben Zabo, P8. Lucas UK, P9. Calcifer, P10. Great drive from him. Onyx there in P11. Falcon Nardi, P12. Falcon Roy, P13. Manuel B. and Collier, P14. Stive in P15. Falcon Alvaro, P16. Nicholas Mateo after DNF in P17. Fabrizio Donoso as well as Yanni Vitsaniemi, as well as Simon Viegang. But Jack, I don't know what to say, but that was incredible.
It never disappoints, does it? I think Matthias Colligon, I think he could take some real solace from the fact he won that thing on merit, on track, but the penalty cost him. He got that in the early part of the race, and he could have just held on for it, but half a second was all it was in the end. He pulled out a hell of a lap on the last lap to pull it out to that. But a quick shout as well to Ruben Vallejo, 17th to 5th, of course 18th to 1st. Kind of overshadows that, but Ruben Vallejo did an excellent job to come from the same row as Jarno Opmeer up to the top 5 as well.
Yeah, well, I got to say, I'm going to have to ask Jarno Opmeer to buy me a new thesaurus for Christmas, because I got to say, I'm running out of superlatives to say for this man. He is absolutely unbelievable. The Alfa Romeo driver has made it 5 from 5 in almost impossible circumstances. To take hard tyres so long to the end of the race, we were left with our jaws gaping at the scenes that managed to cultivate him a race winner here at Bahrain, and that makes it 5 from 5. I still can't believe what I've seen. I can't believe it, folks. Absolutely unbelievable. The Flying Dutchman has done it again, and I gotta say, I'll be re-watching this stream to find out how he did it. Absolutely unbelievable. But fair play to Matthias Colligon on winning on track. Once again, an impeccable performance from him, and I'm sure he will be up there once again. And also credit to Josh Idawu from taking that P3 position. But it's unbelievable. Obviously, we've got plenty of races still to go. Obviously, stupid to even name drivers champions this early in the season. But Jarno Opmeer, he's put himself in a good position to win this thing, Jack.
I mean, 5 wins in a row. You can't get more perfect than that. I mean, Jarno Opmeer is an incredible driver. The consistency he was doing there, and the perfect strategy from 18th on the grid to lead. It's quite unbelievable what this man is able to do. And yeah, it looks like the people who are going to be in the F1 Esports Pro Series should be worried for this man.
That's a very, do you understand what I'm saying though? A very distinct message being sent there by Jarno Opmeer. I got to wonder whether that strategy was on purpose, like he almost intended to say to him, look guys, I'm here, I'm packing a punch. I look forward to seeing you guys at the Gfinity Arena, but I'm going to be bringing all the weaponry, and he certainly has. He has come here once again, taken a P1 in impossible circumstances, and I'm going to be careful because his head's going to grow massive because he's now listening to me in the caster booth. Jarno, welcome.
Thank you.
What are you doing, man? What are you doing? Get out of town. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know Colligon had a penalty until like 10 meters before the line because I couldn't ask the in-game engineer beforehand. I had to pass Josh first, so straight away when I passed him, I asked it, and then 10 meters before the line, he said that he had a penalty, so that was just perfect.
So you win it, even though you didn't think you were going to win it. That's unbelievable. That's mad. I got to say, we've spoken about strategies in previous weeks and obviously previous races, but obviously a huge ask to take hard tyres for that length of time. How was the grip on those tyres going around Bahrain? Because it is known universally as a two-stop circuit, surely.
Yeah, I felt like on the hards I felt really confident. So I was like doubting myself a bit going to mediums instead of to softs. Because I felt like I could have gone like 3 or 4 laps more on the hards because the balance was just perfect on the hards. And then obviously it's going to be a question if it's going to be the same on the mediums. But the balance was good on the mediums as well. And then I could just put a hammer down because I was quite safe with tires 12 laps to the end on the mediums. so I could just absolutely send it pretty much. But after that first lap, I had like a terrible first lap. I had a good start over the line. And then going into turn 1, I got just stuck. I went off in turn 2 on the exit. And then I think I was down in P18 or P19 again after gaining 2 places off the line. And meanwhile, Fabrizio was started 1 place behind me. I was up to P13 or 12. So that was really frustrating at the time, simply because I had more pace than everyone in front of me. Obviously, the goal was to qualify in P11, which I didn't really succeed in. So yeah, in the end, it was just enough.
I get the feeling on the tone of your voice that you obviously enjoyed that. I mean, that was just unbelievable. I mean, obviously, what sort of message do you believe this sends to the Pro Series? I mean, surely this must build your confidence going into this major event now.
Yeah, surely. I mean, obviously the Pro Series is going to be 35% and this is 50, or at least I think it's going to be 35%. Yeah, obviously winning 5 out of 5 against these drivers, against Freddie, Josh, and James and Colligon is just great, of course.
Yeah, obviously puts you in good stead for the rest of the season. I'd like to say, obviously, major congratulations, Jarno, from myself, and obviously, Jack, I suppose you'd say the same. Phenomenal drive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you brought it down right to the wire. But yeah, congratulations, Jarno. Massively well done.
Thank you.
We'll now move on to James Baldwin, the world's fastest gamer, has graced us with his presence, obviously after a very, very good drive, despite not breaking into the top 3. James, welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Well done, Jarno.
Thank you.
No, James, I watch your hot lap videos on a regular basis, and obviously I'm going to ask you now, can you diagnose what we've just seen? What do you call it? Diagnose or not diagnose, or almost analyze what we've just seen here?
Well, I mean, Jarno is definitely OP. I think that's pretty obvious. Yeah, I have a spotter called Nathan Tague, and he was in my ear saying, "Oh, Jarno's not going to be a factor in this race." And then 5 laps later, Jarno's passing me down the straight, and it's like, okay, fair enough. But no, it was really, really good. Enjoyed it. Like Bahrain, and unfortunately got held in the pits for like 3 or 4 seconds, which, yeah, it was a bit of a game changer because I could have been with those front 3. But yeah, it was really good. It's so close, which is really fun.
Yeah, it seemed to be a great qualifying performance from yourself as well, coming back into it. And obviously, that put you in a great position. But you must have felt, oozes of confidence, especially coming back in such a manner, because you haven't been racing, obviously, in ORL too much at the start of this season. Obviously, raced quite a lot of the races towards the end of last season. Obviously, no looks of ring rust or anything like that. You seem to come to it like a duck to water. Did you feel confident in the car?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I've been trash on F1 for a long old time now. I haven't had a decent race in what feels like forever. So it was just nice to be, in the mix. No real big mistakes, just, a little bit unfortunate with the pit stop. But, it felt really good. And, it gives me a little bit of confidence, I suppose, going into the Pro Series, which isn't too far away now. So, yeah.
No, and of course, you're pushing out impeccable performances across the board. I'd like to say as well, congratulations on your GT victory as well, on your very first start.
Cheers, man.
Yeah. What are your thoughts going into that? Because obviously, first win, you must be thinking more around the corner. You obviously have a very, very good, strong team.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, strong team. I'm enjoying the transition into the real world. But it's very different to say this. In the driving, the physics are different, obviously, because they're not really physics in real life; they're just real life. But it's tough going from one to another. But yeah, it's a good challenge, and I enjoy it. So it's long may it continue, I guess.
But surely, I mean, I've got to say, bringing your A game to esports as well. I mean, trying to be the best in 2 very different sets of circumstances is certainly impressive. So I'd like to congratulate you on an impeccable drive here today. Certainly, given the considerations that you're sort of trying to win on 2 different levels. So many congratulations to you on that, James.
You're too kind. Thank you.
Thank you. Jack, phenomenal race once again, mate. blown our minds unbelievably. I cannot believe what we've just seen. I thought Austria was quite something, but this has been something else, mate.
I mean, it just throws everything at you, really, doesn't it? It's never boring in ORL, is it? Even though Jarno has won 5 times, the stats say something very different. He's won 5 times in a row, but each time he's won, it's never been easy. He makes it hard for himself. He starts from 18th on the grid. He has a bad first lap. He does whatever. It's never been easy for Jarno Otmir, but it shows that he can adapt to any circumstance that's given to him. So if you look at the stats alone, this is a boring season. If you look at the races, it's unbelievable.
I mean, packing an incredible punch throughout the season so far, winning without expectation, certainly from many of us. Obviously, I mean, today, you could have written him off, like James said. I mean, his colleague said to him, Jarno's not going to be a factor in this race. How very wrong was he after witnessing that performance? I mean, I'd imagine James is probably not going to let him speak in his ear again, I expect. But absolutely unbelievable scenes. And obviously, this just goes to show that even in the most direst of circumstances, you can cultivate yourself a positive performance, even in ORL, despite there being a multitude of impressive drivers. And that's what makes us want to watch, folks. So without any further ado, please leave a like and a subscribe and follow us for even more racing. I don't know what else we can give you after that, folks, but I hope you've all enjoyed the stream. It's been absolutely unbelievable. Jack, I'd like to thank you for joining me once again, and obviously we'll go into next week with even bigger expectations, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Jarno basically has a target on his back right now, because if he's winning five in a row, then he has huge expectations on his shoulders, because even he basically may as well not qualify anymore, because he can just have some fun at the back.
It certainly showed that. But anyway, guys, I'd like to thank you for joining us here this evening. Obviously, don't forget to check out HyperX as well for all your wireless equipment needs for your PC or gaming in general. They have an incredible array of stock there, so please do check it out. Also, chuck them a cheeky follow on Twitter as well. That's HyperX. Don't forget to check them out. Obviously, leave us a like and subscribe, as I said before. And check us out next week as well, where we'll bring you even more racing with me and Jack at the helm on the mics. And we'll look forward to seeing you then. But from us, tonight, goodbye.